Project 6, 8-page cookbook, 4 layout roughs as spreads. A U.S. letter page is a standard page in the U.S., and it measures 8.5 inches by 11 inches. This is the size of a standard piece of notebook paper. A U.S. letter page folded in half is digest size, also a standard page size. It measures 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. This is also the size of your cookbook. This is a rough layout of the cover of the gluten-free cookbook that I'll be using as an example. Your cookbook will have 2 folded U.S. letter pages, which will result in 8 pages in the cookbook. You'll see this example is a 2-page spread, or 2 facing pages. Using the template provided, draw by hand 4 inside spread layout roughs, using the same recipe for each one. In this example, I'm using the quinoa stuffed pork tenderloin gluten-free recipe. Let's take a closer look at each rough. In the first rough, you can see I've made a little note to the side that the top header image is a close-up, the larger image that's in the layout. I've given enough information so that you can see the headings and subheadings and where specific information should appear. I've drawn in enough detail in the image so that you can see shapes and direction of elements within that image. You will be sourcing your own photography using approved sources, so you will have an opportunity to choose really nice photos for your recipes. Any type that will appear over 12 points in the actual 5.5 by 8.5 booklet should be written out. If you run out of room, that's fine. At least we can see what you intend. Anything that's 12 point or less is body copy or paragraph copy, and you can use lines to delineate where that copy goes. Look at a real recipe to tell how many lines you might need. Layout number 2 tries a different approach and puts the title on the left facing page and the ingredients and directions on the right. And my notes indicate that this is a full bleed photo of a table setting, including that pork tenderloin dish. The text boxes are actually in boxes that have a little text frame inset to give the text some room, and those are overlaid on top of the photo. Layout number 3, I have a note that the image is facing left, and I want to flip that image to face right so it looks like it's going into the spread. Anytime you can keep the reader's attention within the spread, you want to use those pointing devices to help do that. And in this case, I have a kind of traditional type pairing on the right side for the title. I've got a bit of a scripty font for quinoa stuffed, and then I have a serif font, which I have in mind for pork tenderloin, and I'm using a horizontal rule to break the title from the ingredients and directions. I also have a few little drawings in the top right of some of the ingredients. The little vertical box or little sidebar that appears there on the right page is where the information for servings and prep time and cook time will go. And if there's room, I may actually add a little blurb about what to serve this dish with. Layout number 4 actually became my favorite with a few adjustments. Again, I'm pairing the serif font for quinoa stuffed and then a script for pork tenderloin this time. Beneath that, I have a little tagline, or was thinking about putting the serving and prep and cook time there, but I also included the vertical inset box, maybe to suggest serving pairing. I've got ingredients, I've got directions, and sometimes you'll see directions just written out. Sometimes they're numbered lists, sometimes they have bullet lists. That is entirely up to you. But I Notice that even though this is very rectangular and has a little bit less of the organic shapes, I have gone over the fold so that I'm really using what I want to use of this spread and not feeling forced to one page or another. I didn't need a full 5.5 inches to put this ingredients and recipe on, even though this is my largest recipe. So I took a little bit more of that page. So you can see the dashed line kind of going through. I would use like a solid or a heavy vertical line to break up the two areas. But I like the idea of having smaller images of ingredients and then having the close-up of the entree below it. The ingredients may need to go a little smaller so that I can use the rule of thirds and have the ingredients just in the top third and allow the remaining 2/3 to be the photo of the entree. I wanted to go over these is because we're going to choose from these 4 layouts which direction you're going to go. And you could tell that from my variations, they're very different and they have different unifying elements. One might be a horizontal line, one may be a full bleed, one may be a vertical line, or the type pairing that I have in mind. So whichever one of these is chosen, that is going to determine what the other spreads are going to look like. Because it's a book, it should be very unified. You're going to be able to use master pages to keep your common elements in the same place on every page. You will also use that to create your automatic page numbers. And when you work with page numbers, you want to remove the page number from the front cover, and I would also suggest removing it from the back cover. Only have page numbers inside. Thanks for watching this overview of this week's assignment.